Good evening to you from Amy Park in Melbourne, where Melbourne City are looking to keep the Premiership race alive, at least until tomorrow, and potentially secure a spot in Asia next season. Conversely, it's the last chance saloon for Adelaide United, an alarming dip in form, leaving them with a stark scenario this evening. Realistically, only a victory will give them a chance of finals football. A draw would mean a week of worry in the hope that Sydney FC lose their last two games. A defeat for the Reds would leave them praying for a mathematical miracle. Well, the plate may be a long shot, but City's challenge for the top two and a week off in the finals does extend their record of consecutive finals appearances to 11. You have to go all the way back to the days of Melbourne Heart to find the last time they failed. And the fact that they are still in contention for top spots is a testament to their squad depth, given the amount of injuries they've suffered this season. As for the Reds, well, they were top of the table on January the 2nd, having lost just one match all season. Their second half of the campaign collapse is one perhaps few saw coming, but the Reds now staring down the barrel of missing the finals in consecutive campaigns for the very first time. Isuzu is leading the team out this evening on what could be his final appearance as a professional footballer. Still waiting for Melbourne City to take their place in the players' race, as you can see on our Isuzu UTE tunnel cam pictures. And here come the team in City Blue. And they've been pretty consistent at home this season. 7 wins, 1 draw, and just the 3 losses. And a victory tonight would at the very least ensure a top 3 finish, and would certainly put them in pole to finish second, and place just that little bit of nervousness, I guess, on Auckland ahead of their game against Perth Glory in New Zealand tomorrow. Before we start tonight, of course, yesterday was Anzac Day, so we're going to take a moment to pause for reflection on the sacrifice made by so many.
Welcome to tonight's Melbourne City vs Adelaide United Isuzu A-Leagues match, and to Amy Park for tonight's special Anzac ceremony. We ask that spectators please stand if you are able for this evening's Anzac ceremony, and please remove any hats. As we welcome the teams to the field tonight, the 2 captains will lay a wreath to show respect to our Anzacs past and present. Following the wreath laying, Ian Tanner from the St Kilda branch of the RSL will recite the ode. We appreciate your silence during the ceremony.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. lest we forget.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That completes our Anzac service.
Well, thankfully the weather conditions are close to perfect for tonight's game. And Melbourne City just having a look over their shoulders a little bit following Western Sydney Wanderers' victory over the Newcastle Jets earlier on today, which puts them just a point behind already our Vidmar's team. There is Carl Veert, who is potentially in charge of the Reds for the last time this evening, which would end 12 years of service as player and coach. Tonight is 144th game in charge of Adelaide United, a true club legend. Our match referee this evening is Sean Evans, who is assisted by Andrew Maimarakis and Daniel Ilievski. Jack Morgan is our fourth official, and Kate Jakowitz is in charge of VAR alongside Kearney Robinson. Well, good to see some of the active fans back involved for Melbourne City tonight. New banner proclaiming the south side, and there's already Vidmar, the coach of City. Vidmar and Carl Veert, of course, great friends from their playing days, and Viddy, who spent 3 years as coach of his hometown club. And tonight he can deliver the knockout blow to the Reds, whom he took to the Asian Champions League final in 2008. Now the two news: City making just one enforced change from the 11 that started against Western Sydney Wanderers last week. Steven Ugarkovic picked up a knock in training yesterday and misses out. Zane Schreiber comes into the midfield for his first start in 2 months. Nathaniel Atkinson makes his 100th A-League appearance, all in City blue. Still an extended injury list, with Lecky, Cyprian, Jago, Naboot and Nieuwenhuizen all out. 20-year-old Harry Shillington stands by for a debut on a very youthful-looking City bench. Now 4 changes for the Reds. Out go Jay Barnett, Johnny Yull, Yaya Dukuli and Luka Jovanovic. In come top goal scorer Archie Goodwin, Zach Clough, and the 2 Spaniards, Javi Lopez and Isaias, who could both be making their final appearances as professionals with retirement due at the end of the season. Isaias is handed the captain's armband for the occasion. Lopez starts at left back with Ryan Kitto pushed further forward, and Jordan Elsey returns on the bench. So Adelaide United get the ball rolling. 90 minutes to keep the Premiership race alive for City. 90 minutes, Andy Harper, to keep a whole season alive for Adelaide United. Could be fun.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. I think it will be. Games in the last few weeks, particularly as we've reached this crescendo, have by and large been really fun to watch. Keenly contested, some brilliant football, and I expect the same tonight.
Here's Ryan Kitto in that more advanced role that he's playing this evening, replacing Yaya Dukuli on the left wing as the Reds look to get off to a quick start. Dylan Parias, who is on the score sheet against Brisbane Roar during the week, earning a throw. And this collapse from the Reds has been truly jaw-dropping in truth. And as mentioned, second on the ladder on the 2nd of January. Or was it top that I said they were on 2nd of January? Anyway, they were up near or there.
Yeah, and Carl Veert, I mean, you referred to it, he is just an icon of South Oz football. He's contributed mightily to the cause and has been a key part of their success over many, many, many years. He's obviously been identified as the first reason why things haven't worked since we've turned into 2025. But there's still the game to play tonight, whether it's a farewell to a couple of club stalwarts as well as Carl remains to be seen. Even the best case scenario for Adelaide with 3 points here is needing Sydney to lose both their remaining matches. City, on the other hand, Simon, care of the Wanderers win, now have another team nipping at their heels for that coveted second spot.
Here's Andreas Kuhn releasing Marco Tilio, who went early with the cross and maybe just snatched at it a little bit. A decent early opening that for City. They had players in advanced positions as well.
And he was in a good situation, Marco Tilio. It's poor execution from the Socceroo winger. He's been in game-defining form since returning from injury. Part of Aurelio Vidmar's very lengthy injury list. They've had to deal with it this year. The club has done extraordinarily well in getting to this point, having to absorb all those lost matches with senior professionals, some of whom, as you have already alluded, Simon, are still getting ready to play football again.
City have been in the top 6 for all but 2 rounds this season, which, given that lengthy casualty list, nothing short of remarkable really, but it's a testament to their academy that the kids that have come in have really taken their opportunities. It's given away by Kai Truitt. Parias. Tilio tracking back and helping out his defence, which is in need of that lending hand. Atkinson. 100 games for City, spread across 2 different spells, of course. Interspersed with that stint in Scotland with Heart of Midlothian. Here's Cohen. Atkinson won it in the air. Cohen was in a bit of space, but cut out by Bart Vriends. Steadied down by Isaias, but Alagic closed down quickly and Cohen skips away from Javi Lopez. 3 in the box to try and pick out. And he found Panagiotis Kikiadis. Back with Cohen, the Israeli international. Now Zane Schreiber. Low crossing towards Caputo, steered away by the Reds' defence. City will go again through Atkinson. Aziz Bajic. Back with Truitt. Now German Ferreira. Patrick Beach, as is his wont, well outside his own penalty area. Quite often is the starting point for City's attacks. Truitt's ball finding a bit of space for Alessandro Lopane. Now with Cohen. Ignores Atkinson on the outside. Tilio will reach it! And it's heading wide, unbelievably, by Max Caputo. From point-blank range, and Adelaide get a lucky let-off.
Well, it's a great work from Marco Tilio there. Good save, and it's just behind Caputo. It's a really difficult one in the end to negotiate. Tilio does brilliantly, so too does Vartuli in goal. And it's just behind Max Caputo, or else it's going to be 1-0 for Melbourne City. Just cannot get behind the ball to head it inside the post. And wide it goes. An early reprieve for Adelaide.
Here's Vartuli under pressure from the back pass from Freeds.
That was a close thing too.
That Adelaide defence, which has had a big question mark against it all season, has wobbled a couple of times already. Spins out towards Tilio, near touchline. Beige. Closed down by Morg. Clough turning into trouble. City fancying they might have had a free kick there, but they've got the ball back now through Aziz Beige, their captain. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to work out that defence has been the problem for the Reds this season.
Yeah, the defence has certainly been exposed. Part of that for Carl Viet's team, Simon, has been because they haven't been able to put teams away at the other end. There have been plenty of games, a catalogue of them, where their dominance hasn't turned into goals, and then a slip up at the back and they've been chasing the game. Too many of those slip-ups have presented too many games where they just haven't had the chase in them.
By the way, that topsy-turvy nature of their season might be confirmed tonight. If they score this evening, Adelaide, it will be their 54th of the season, which will be a new seasonal record for the club. The problem is they've already set a seasonal record at the other end in terms of goals conceded, with 55, which, along with Perth Glory, is now the joint worst defensive record in the competition.
Well, that's not a record anyone wants to earn. Perth Glory of pale imitation of their former greatness this season, although thankfully no signs that football club has turned the corner. I guess they've needed to. Very disappointed with that defensive record and whatever reflection it might be on Bart Greens. He thought as a recruit
Atkinson checks out back wide for Jonathan Cohen to fire one in. Had a bit of pace on that. Marias with the initial clearance. Back with Schreiber. Tilio. And Beige.
Yeah, far from hanging everything defensively on Bart Friends. Not the intention at all, but big recruit with a huge CV laced with experience and started well. When the team was going well, everything was looking really settled, and it just, the leadership around the ground went missing. It's a shame because you enjoy it when these players choose to come to the A-League with big successful careers in good leagues overseas. It's quite worked out that way.
Ball's out of play. Adelaide United fans making a bit of noise. Michael Zapponi is pitch side for us tonight.
Yeah, great to see the travelling United fans, and also great to see an active Melbourne City support tonight. Pretty cool out here tonight, 18 degrees. The pitch is holding up despite the heavy traffic from last night. And a little insight from Adelaide United when they walked out tonight. Isaias and Javi Lopez both had their children with them.
Just break away because Archie Goodwin has got the better of German Ferreira. Pike through into the rescue, and there's an inquest going on in that Melbourne City defence. And that's the danger Archie Goodwin poses.
Well, apart from the goals, it is fabulous for all concerned to see Archie Goodwin use his athleticism over the full 50 metres of the half pitch or thereabouts. Great speed, getting rid of Ferreira, maybe just overrunning it slightly, and Ryan Kiddo was pleading with Goodwin for him to side foot the ball to him. Great breakaway, good possibility there for Adelaide.
Stefan Morg and Zane Schreiber involved in a little bit of push and shove. Might even be a little bit more than that. There are hands all over the place, which Sean Evans is keeping a very beady eye on. They're almost cuddling in there. All in anticipation of Zach Clough's corner, which is whipped in towards the near post. And And it's into the side netting. Back to Michael Zappone's upper.
Yeah, there was obviously speculation around whether Isaias and Javi Lopez will continue beyond tonight. Isaias, 38 years of age, Lopez, 39. Isaias, what a legend he's been for this club. They walked out with their children, so they've flown their family here tonight, so perhaps the strongest indication yet that tonight could be their last game for the Reds.
Yeah, I think they both announced earlier on in the season, didn't they, that this was going to be their last year. Both are doing their coaching badges, I know that. And the fact that Isaias has got the armband tonight would certainly indicate that he is perhaps done at the end of this campaign. And Javi Lopez at 39, the oldest player in the competition. Here he is on the ball. Both have been great servants for the Reds, particularly Isaias.
Well, I think that you're right. We're just echoing what most people think. But I would like that both Isaias and Javi Lopez join that group of foreign players who moved to Adelaide United and can't leave the city once they retire. There's a collection of them that continue to contribute, and personally hope, if the circumstances are right, that both of these guys fit into that category. Enormous amounts to offer.
Yeah, the likes of Marcelo Carrasco and Casio have both stuck around. Cristiano as well, back in the day.
Marcos Flores is doing his thing. It's clearly a difficult city to leave once you've settled. Terrific football club historically. Let's hope that history is relived in the not too distant future.
Zach Clough got a touch of good fortune there, but it might set something up for the Reds here. Mork. Goodwin's ball was behind Mork, but retrieved by Kitto. Beautifully angled that wide towards Parias by Alagic. This is his cross, not quite as impressive. Lifted forward by Lopane. Steadied down by Caputo. Atkinson to ping it crossfield towards Tilio. That as things stand, Melbourne City would be qualifying for the Asian Champions League Elite next season, which is not just good in terms of prestige, but financial rewards are the best part of $2 million. Nice little carrot for all those clubs chasing that second spot. And City, for the moment at least, quite yet giving up on top spot, but you'd imagine that Auckland will seal the deal at some point over the next 7 or 8 days. There's the Adelaide ladder. If City fail to win here today, then Auckland's job will have been done for them. Here's Tilio wriggling away from Alagic, who was all over him. It's going to be a free kick and a yellow card for the Adelaide United midfielder. Tilio can be so slippery in those sorts of situations.
His acceleration is outstanding. And Alagic just with a heavy touch. Looking to make amends, oversteps the mark. Tilio at full tilt manages to maintain his balance to some degree until finally he can hold on no longer and stumbles to the ground. A yellow card, the obvious outcome.
It's Ethan Alagic's first yellow card of the season. He started every single game for the Reds. It's not a bad record, that, for a midfielder. Albeit might not think so if this free kick ends up in a goal, though, for Melbourne City. Wall of 4 set by Max Vartuli. Jonathan Cohen and Alessandro Lopane sizing up the situation. It's going to be Jonathan Cohen who fires a metre or two over the crossbar. He's one of those experienced City players who's had his injury concerns this season. Made his first start against the Wanderers last week since the end of last year. Back high up the field by Andreas Kuhn. There's another one who's missed a decent chunk of the campaign.
The other side of which has shown great quality. Kuhn. The frightening thing for Melbourne City speaks to their depth. The starting 11 can most certainly handle itself, obviously, pushing for top honours, but they're doing that without Matthew Leckie, without Andrew Naboot, without its incredible depth they've got at the football club.
Again, for that, you've got to give credit to the academy. I mean, you look at the bench tonight, probably at the start of the season, you'd say it's very inexperienced, but they've certainly proved their worth. Kids such as Rahmani and Lawrence Wong, Edin Mehmeti, Puto stuck out to boot and almost played in Lapane, who then fouls Ryan Kitto. Another potential debutant tonight, another one off the production line in Harry Shillington. A reminder that Auckland can seal the Premiership tomorrow in their home game against Perth Glory if Adelaide United don't do the job for them tonight. See that game live on 10 Football and Paramount Plus, of course. City dominated the early possession stakes. Wolf winning that 50-50. Zach Clough. Kitto waiting at the back post. Ball doesn't arrive. Back out wide by Isaias. Clough. All the way back through Kikianis. Arias onto this one. Only Goodwin in the box. All had to readjust. Clough. Again, didn't get the required height. Here's Alagic. Lopez. Kikianis threads the needle for Isaias. Friens. Isaias, that's a nice return pass for Dylan Parias. That's 3 tries he's had now, getting in the right cross. And hasn't really hit the mark with any of them. Sooner or later you'd fancy one will stick for him. Here he goes again. Clough, and scooped over the top by Stephen Moore. It's good patient build-up that from the Reds.
They worked it nicely in the end, having fired 3 blanks and delivering the ball more directly from the outside right position. They decided to work infield, and Stephen Moore sat quite nicely for him. Rescued his effort on goal. Perhaps could have done with a dose of the Ryan Teagues from last night.
What a goal that was. Stephen Moore has had his best A-League season so far in terms of goal return. He's second top scorer behind Archie Goodwin on 8. Back playing against the club where, of course, he began his A-League career. 57 games and 9 goals in City Blue. City comfortably through that first press. Barney's ball though was behind Cohen. It's a clever ball by Javi Lopez. Right Kitto stealing a march on Nathaniel Atkinson. Cut back straight at Aziz Bayic. Most convincing of clearances from Germán Ferreira. And the Reds are back on the attack. And Parias again. Needs a 9-iron.
He's got his swing all wrong so far this evening, Dylan Parias. Unless you're a Melbourne City fan, of course, then he's been bang on.
Lopez's release was inaccurate. The ball looked to have gone out of play, but the linesman didn't flag. And it's straight back to the Reds, though, by Atkinson. Here's Isaias driving towards the box. City just struggling to get the ball clear. Disguised by Kikianis, chested down by Frins. Heavy off the chest then of Dylan Parias. Just not really found his groove as yet. Off the head of Schreiber and off the toe of Tilio. Without a win on the road in any of their last 6 trips. 2 draws, 4 losses, 21 goals conceded. Home or away, just 1 win in their last 10. That was that late show against Wellington Phoenix, where they edged it by 3 goals to 2. Really, a victory is a must here this evening. Not least, Andy, because the goal difference is heavily in favour of Sydney FC as well.
Yeah, but as things stand, they've got their noses in front of Sydney. They've managed to an opportunity to advance that position next week. So it all rides on tonight. But the context also should be appreciated. Sydney have 2 very difficult away games to finish the season. There'll be no guarantees they'll win one or either of them. Even a draw in Adelaide, which gets their noses in front, does put Sydney under a bit of pressure.
Sydney at Western United tomorrow, and then next week they are here at AAMI Park to face Melbourne City. An intriguing end to the campaign. 5 of the top 6 now decided, but 1 place still vacant. Here's Tilio. Schreiber. Truitt. Ferreira. Tilio. It's a good ball for Alessandro Lopane. Cohen wanted the ball played in front rather than behind. Just not quite on the same page as yet, those 2.
Bit of a miscommunication. I thought Cohen just made his run a little early because he could have adjusted. Once he'd seen that Lopane's first touch wasn't that clean, he could have recalibrated. So Lopane was the first to miss his assignment, but I think Cohen could have corrected things a little bit himself.
There's that fixture tomorrow from Ironbark Fields. You'll see that one on Paramount Plus. Western United already assured of a place in the finals. Sydney FC, no doubt, watching on here tonight. Maybe a little nervously. in anticipation of what it might mean for them. And there's faces in the stands. Samuel Suprayan, who's out injured at the moment, alongside one of the legends, Alessandro Diamanti. Now, of course, a youth team coach and working very much on that production line with Melbourne City. Slip on takeoff, which perhaps affected the trajectory of his release. Jonathan Cohen's made it into a good pass nonetheless. Given away though by Lapane. Ran into traffic. Here's Alagic. Had a little look to see if Dylan Parias had pushed forward down the right hand side, but to no avail. Got to be careful here, Bart Freens. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact there between Freens and Tillio. Waved away by Sean Evans. That'll be interesting to watch on the replay. Meantime, we go on with Javi Lopez. Freens just got himself in a little bit of a tangle. We're told that VAR has cleared that challenge. Here it is again.
Well, no. I'm happy for no penalty. I thought at first glance there was more of a push than there was. There was contact, of course.
To be honest, initially I thought that Freens might have been fouled himself.
Yes, me too. Yeah. Tillio still asking the question.
And the answer's still no.
Surprise, surprise.
Had his ups and downs in his debut season in Australia, Bart Freens. Remember, really at the start of the campaign, his arrival was spruiked as being perhaps the antidote to Adelaide's defensive issues, at least in part. It hasn't quite worked out that way. Good. Nice back heel to find Marco Tillio, who gets away from Freens. Flicks off the head of Kikianis. Here's Nathaniel Atkinson. Lapane. A little stumble at the point of contact, took all the sting out of it.
Well, look at this run from Tillio. He glides with such speed. He puts a lot on that in the end. Maybe a little bit more finesse, but when Tillio's carrying the ball with such balance and at such speed, Simon, it's like defenders through their mind goes, God help me, what do I do here? And he let them off the hook a little there with, I thought, a little overzealous in the execution of that pass.
Let's see what the Reds can do here. They've got numbers in this attack, but Kai Truin holds them up. And then Ferreira is fouled by Stefan Mork.
And disappointing from Ryan Kiddo, having just made comment on Marco Tillio. Kiddo in good space. He saw Goodwin, and to his credit, tried to get the ball in front of Archie Goodwin while he had the chance. He mishit the pass. It was a good chance that's come to nothing. Unfortunately, Archie Goodwin is now down in the 6-yard area for Melbourne City, needing attention and having just got really excited about how sharp Archie was looking. Let's hope this is nothing soft tissue, although it's certainly looking that way.
Yeah, this is a big concern. Archie Goodwin, whose early career, particularly with the Newcastle Jets, was so stop-start in part because of injuries. So it's a hamstring issue. Luka Jovanovic, I can tell you, is already stripped and ready to go. Yeah, it doesn't look good for Archie Goodwin. Currently jointly leading the Golden Boot race along with Adrian Segicic, and just as he Went into full sprint there. He pulled up, and that right hand immediately went to that right hamstring. So an early change for the Reds, and a disappointing way, Andy, to end what has been a quite brilliant first season with the Reds for Archie Goodwin.
Yeah, anguish on the face, the poor kid. It's a terribly desolate time. Injury, repeated injury, long-term injury, and he was just looking good, banging the goals away, and he's come a cropper again, unfortunately.
You can see how distraught the young kid is. Those are distressing pictures.
It's horrible. The life of a sports person is so precarious. Let's hope Archie gets a long life in professional sport, if that's his desire, but he's had a really tough start physically.
Well, without wishing to preempt the injury, Andy, if it is the hamstring, even if Adelaide do make the finals, he's going to struggle to be a part of it.
Yeah, the off-season is well timed. But that's the furthest thing from Archie's mind, I'm sure, at the moment.
It's the only bit of good news, I guess, is that he's got a long off-season to try and get right. Issa is trying to play in Kito on the left. Luka Jovanovic fresh to the action and looking to close down German Ferreira. But the Reds don't lose too much. They've got another good young gun to replace him in Luka Jovanovic. I guess for a while this season, Andy, it was touch and go whether it was Archie Goodwin or Luka Jovanovic, who was the #1 pick.
Yeah, they're different types of players. Jovanovic is a really exciting young player. Archie, on what we've seen so far, to me, looks a more natural goal poacher. And that's not to discredit Luka at all. I think he's a fine talent. If you're having to split a hair between the two, that's how I would do it. And he gets a chance now, Luka Jovanovic, to show us an abundance of talent, lead the charge for his team.
Meantime, the ice goes on that hamstring of Archie Goodwin. Well, Ferreira's gotten a bit of a mess again. Not the first time tonight he's been closed down.
It's been a bit of a subdued Melbourne City, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, they were good the first 10-15 minutes, but since then Adelaide have really come back into it.
And certainly compared to their last 2, 3, 4 weeks, where I just think they've been awesome. That away performance against Sydney FC was brilliant. The comeback last week against the Wanderers, as controversially as it ended, but still, it's not City's fault. They did their bit and they were excellent. Not quite hit those heights so far here today, and I guess I should give credit to Adelaide for putting their own pressure on Melbourne City.
Confirmation from Michael Zapponi. It is indeed, as we suspected, a hamstring injury for Archie Goodwin. How severe it is, of course, will be determined in the coming days. Pane providing cover, and Cohen earning the throw for City. To go the roundabout route to get out of that press. Schreiber determined not to be beaten by the bounce. And the loose ball drops in favour of Aziz Bajic here. Andreas Kuhn. Here's Lopane. This time he makes a pass stick for Jonathan Cohen. His cross ricochets away off Ryan Kito, and then Lopez for a throw. Schreiber. Truen. Tilio. Andreas Kuhn. That's a lovely one too. With Aziz Bajic, Kuhn away for a moment at least. Bajic will bust a gut to keep this one alive for City. And gets his team a corner off Zach Clough. Goodwin cutting a rather disconsolate figure on the Adelaide United bench. Melbourne City's first corner of the game. There's a man free at the back post. Well, now they've been a few inches lower. That might have been a very good opportunity for City.
Yes, but Lapona just misreads that completely. Like, completely. He had no one blocking his run. He had a full view of a ball that was sailing in, and the radar just went haywire completely.
In his defence, he's another one who's spent a long time out through injury. That's a clear foul on Stefan Mork's. Going to be a card here as well. Kai Truin. He's going to have to watch his step from now on. Not malicious, but certainly mistimed.
Yeah, it does put him in the dock a little, doesn't it? And then they can barely do without Kai. Transgressors again in this game. You'll miss next week, which is a long way off, but you never know. 38 minutes out, last line of defence. Adelaide breakaway. They might have to do the business.
Kikianis and Friends have made their way forward for this set piece. Whipped in by Clough, and Beach punched under pressure from his own player, Andreas Kuhn. And then Adelaide make a real hash of setting things up again.
Well, that was a good free kick from Clough. And then at the second attempt, quite sure what he thought here in trying to give the ball to Ryan Kiddo, but it was really poor execution. Pressure that they might have been able to build on Melbourne City evaporates.
Miscue from Bart Vriends, and Tilio wriggles goal side of the Dutch defender. Finds room for the cross, but only succeeds in hitting the stanchion behind the goal. He's had 2 or 3 good openings now, Marco Tilio.
Yeah, more dangerous this evening with the ball at his feet than he is when he's looking to pass or deliver to someone else. He's been in this part of the world a couple of times and hasn't come up with a solution.
It's a good release from Panagiotis Kikianis, and a bit of space here for Dylan Parias to advance into. And he just lost his footing completely on the surface. Marcus Zapponi mentioned that there's been a fair bit of traffic on this pitch. We are in that crossover season, of course, with the other codes. Maybe just hitting one of those patches of the grounds. Zach Clough appears to have done here, where the ground's a bit softer, but he's got the better of Zane Schreiber. And Mork will help it on. Here's Kitto, beaten away by Beach. A brave header from Mork. And there were one or two appeals for a high foot there on Stephen Mork inside the penalty area.
I tend to think it's worth another look. Now, Stephen Mork has left his feet to dive to head the ball, but it certainly bounces at a height which requires a high boot from Melbourne City to get it away.
VAR is having a look at this.
You know, what's the threshold there? Clearly, Stephen Mork has ducked slightly to get to that ball, but I think it was Kai True in his boot. It's at least at chest height.
No word as yet that VAR is going to instruct Sean Evans to take another look, so we can assume that that's been cleared. And on we go with the free kick after that little set-to between Kuhn and Isaias. Clough's delivery, keeper came a long way. Good contact on, clearing push away as well. And Bajic to try and set up the City attack, has to settle for the throw. He made the decision early there, Patrick Beach, to come a long way. And it was the right one in the end. Very confident young goalkeeper.
Yeah, good, strong, committed play. Adelaide failed to do anything with the second opportunity. But there's a real opportunity here for Adelaide to give their hopes a massive injection. And Melbourne City have flattened out quite discernibly. Poor touches, not quite the sharpness.
Schreiber quickly closed down by Mork. Gave him a little bit of a bump in the back, which I don't think Zane Schreiber appreciated. Here comes the Adelaide press. City good enough to get out. Not quite. They do get the throw. Stephen Mork just being warned after that little bump on Zane Schreiber by referee Sean Evans. Appealing for the throw. Maybe they should have had it. Pluto challenging Greens. It's a throw in for Adelaide United. Controlled by Alagic, because that was an awkward one to bring down. Sent forward by Bartuli. Kitto out to real estate on the far side of the pitch. And we're into one additional minute at the end of first 45. Strange first half in many ways, Andy. First 15 good for City, but since then it's largely been Adelaide without really troubling Patrick Beach unduly.
Goalkeepers largely untroubled at either end. Bartuli had to make that one save onto the crossbar off the Tilio header for Aurelio Vidmar. Adelaide have looked more likely generally than his team, Melbourne City, have been very flat since the opening moments. Been a huge concern for him. Expecting a big turnaround second half from the home team.
I got something as the first half draws to a close. Caputo with a little flick of the heel. That is half-time. Melbourne City with two good early opportunities. Marco Tullio has been central to their best work. Max Caputo heading just wide, and Jonathan Cohen free kick over the bar. At the other end, Patrick Beach has been dominant in his own penalty area. The Reds' best chance on what could be his final game as a pro. Stefan Mork's effort that went over the bar. The big news of the first half, so far as the Reds are concerned, that injury suffered by Archie Goodwin, which does not look good. Hopefully the goals will flow in the second half, but at the break at Amy Park, it's goalless. Melbourne City 0, Adelaide United 0. We're off to a break ourselves. Join us for our first half analysis on the other side of it.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight we are so excited to be officially presenting Melbourne City FC with the Ninja A-League Premiership play. Melbourne City Football Club claimed the Ninja A-League 2024-25 Premiership last Friday night with a very commanding 5-1 win away over the Perth Glory, etching their names into the history books of Australian football, sealing the Premier's plate, and of course, breaking the A-League women's record for the most games unbeaten, and in doing so, setting a club record. They have also become the first team to go invincible across an entire season of Ninja A-League women's history. Can you please put your hands together as we get ready to celebrate our team of Invincibles?
Here's De Vries, Verstrata, it's crept in! Louis Verstrata for Auckland. Shash could reach it, this could be game over. Verstrata squares it up, and Guillermo Mai will surely seal the 3 points for Auckland. Is it a Premiership winning goal?
And to you, the City fans, whether you've travelled across states, stood with us out at Casey Fields, or filled the stands here at Amy Park, your energy lifts us every time we step on the pitch. This plate belongs to you too. To my teammates, we've done it again. Completing an invincible season is a testament to the character and belief in this group. I could not be prouder of each and every one of you. We've done it again. While we celebrate the plate tonight, our journey is far from over. With 2 more trophies to chase and a group determined to bring them home, we can do it. At the same time, it's a proud moment to acknowledge that through the combined efforts of both our women's teams and men's squads, the A-League's Club Championship is already back in City hands for the 3rd time in 4 seasons. To our men's squad, congratulations on a fantastic season so far. Finish strong in these final matches. We're right behind you and look forward to celebrating together. For us, the job is not done. Let's stay focused, stay together, and finish this season our way. Come on, City!
Well, Stoney, it's now time to be presented with the Premier's Plate for season 2024-25 as the remainder of the coaching staff make their way in as well. City fans, can you please make some noise? Our Invincibles, back-to-back Premiers for 2024-25.
This year's Alex Tobin Medal is brought to you by Isuzu UTE. The winner of the prestigious award will win their choice of a brand new top-of-the-range Isuzu D-Max or 7-seat MUX. Plus, the Isuzu UTE Alex Tobin medalist will nominate a junior football club to win $10,000. Make sure you're watching this season's grand final when the winning player and club will be revealed.
Yeah, thank you, Tara. What an amazing achievement by Michael Matriciani and the Melbourne City women. I've got Michael here. Congratulations, Michael. Amazing season. Great recognition tonight. Still work to do.
Oh, look, it's a great feeling. Like you said, one trophy down. We've got 2 to go. And a big final series. So
all the best with it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Terrific achievement. The Invincibles, Melbourne City women tonight, who are being acknowledged here at halftime. Plenty more to come in the A-League men's as well. Kick-off a minute away.
Welcome back to Abbey Park. Second half about to get underway. Great to see the Melbourne City A-League women's team getting their due recognition. That unbeaten season to complete the Premiership. The treble still very much on. And here in the men's game, fair to say, Andy Harper, that Melbourne City men have looked anything but invincible in that first 45.
Most certainly big half-time for Aurelio Vidmar. They're leaving on this performance, and certainly with this scoreline, they're leaving the door ajar, Melbourne City, for last round drama in Tarneet, possibly here. And the Wanderers figuring as well.
Adelaide United's need, though, is the greater. A point would take them back into the top 6. 3 would really make Sydney FC very nervous ahead of their game tomorrow against Western United. Reminder of the teams at the start of play today. One change for City, Steven Ugarkovic out with injury, Zane Schreiber in. And the Reds making 4 changes, and they've been forced into another one in the first half as well, with what looks like a hamstring injury for Archie Goodwin, so Luka Jovanovic on. No further personnel changes by either coach at the break. And the celebrations go on for the A-League women's team. Congratulations to them and their coach, Michael Matriciani. There is Isaias. Trying to dig that one out under pressure. Bartuli having to get rid in a hurry as well. And Javi Lopez just taking his eye off the ball. That's put the Reds back under pressure. Throw into Max Caputo, is trying to roll Kikianis. Pereira got in front of Jovanovic. Keto wins it ahead of Schreiber. And it's back with Kai Truin. Atkinson. Lapane jostling for position with Lopez, but impeding the Spaniard. Javi Lopez not been with Adelaide as long as his compatriot Isaias, of course, but his 90th game in Reds colours in the A-League this evening, his 383rd career appearance all told. Played mainly with Espanyol back in his native Spain. Patrick Beach with a careless giveaway straight to Zach Clough. And the Reds are on the attack, but Stefan Mork with an equally unnecessary giveaway the other way. Here's Tilio. He is quick, but he's not going to get there ahead of Vartuli. The initial work was good.
Yeah, just gets that moment. And draws a defender. Can I win it? I think I better go and try. And Vrain's beaten, but too heavy on that touch. I'm just talking, as you have a couple of times referred to, this Melbourne City ins and outs, Simon. As good as this 11 is tonight and the kids that have done their job, what about this for a big five to be missing? Suprayon, Leckie, Nabut, Ugarkovic, James Jego, the forgotten injured player. I mean, it's some squad.
Yeah.
When you put all those pieces back together, you can only play 11, of course, but dear me. There's Jimmy Jego, Steve Ugarkovic, Samuel Suprayon.
Suprayon and Leckie, along with Ugarkovic, could and probably should be back for the finals. Nabut, of course, out for the season. Jimmy Jego likewise. Aurelio Vidmar, who's seeking his 50th win as an A-League coach tonight, has utilised the resources available to him at youth level really well this season. Ivanovic getting the better of Ferreira, who holds him back, and that might be close to a yellow card. Yeah, it is, in fact, for the Argentine. So that's both Melbourne City central defenders now walking the tightrope a bit with half the game, or just under, to play.
Yeah, and there hasn't, well, so far at least, no evidence of electric shock therapy in the City change rooms at half-time. It's still very, very flat. Frustrating for Scott Jamieson, one of the ultimate competitors during his playing days.
Ivanovic, Parias, all the way back for Isaias. Taps it into the channel for Luka Ivanovic, who's going to keep it alive here. And Zach Clough's shot is charged down by the City defence. Close to being Adelaide's best moment, that. And now they've got a free kick as well.
Well dug out that chance from Stefan Mark. That was a good chance, well adjusted by Zach Clough. He's been pretty underwhelming tonight, Clough, with some of his work in general play. There's the effort from Stefan Mork. As his base disagrees with the referee's decision, I have to say I'm with the ref on that one.
Two feisty competitors. This is Bajic, who's got a Socceroo spot to play for as well at the end of this season. Big window in June. Zach Clough with the free kick. It was pretty flat. It came off the heel of Kikianis. Looped up comfortably for Beach. Nowhere to go but back for Ferreira. Truin. German Ferreira. Caputo was tightly marked, but was good enough with his touch to find a teammate. Cohen, good run from Caputo as well. Lapane readjusting to get rid of Lopez. Cross was a dangerous one. It flicked off the head of Bart Vriends. Chased down by Aziz Bajic. Top of the box is Lapane. On target, but just routine in the end for Max Bartuli.
Pretty close to the first shot that Bartuli's had to take. Nice deflection from Bart Vriends. It was necessary. Cohen was hovering.
You do get the sense that this game might be there for the taking for Adelaide United, but and their defence holds strong. They've conceded 33 second-half goals this season, the Reds. That's more than any other club in the competition. Kitto, fed by Ivanovic. Robertson got a foot in, crucially perhaps as well. Alagic. Jostled successfully in the end by Cohen. And Andreas Kuhn upended.
Friends just thought he'd done enough to win that day, but clearly made contact with Kewen on the way through. And a draw, of course, tonight not only keeps Adelaide vaguely in it and keeps the Wanderers and West United and maybe even Melbourne Victory interested, it means that Auckland win the league.
Will be quite the occasion when Auckland hosts Perth. There's Atkinson, Bajic, Tilio, and Kuhn protects it behind for a Melbourne City corner. Reports were that they're going pretty close to a sellout for that Auckland-Perth game. Not the first time they've done that this season either.
I'd say for a change.
They've been a great addition to the competition. There's Tilio. Truin trying to jab it over the line. And Kikianis was stationed in exactly the right position to help out his goalkeeper.
With some vague calls for handball on the line as it goes into Panakikianis, but I don't think so. Nervous moment for Adelaide. Near thing for Melbourne City, who come again now with that cheap turnover.
Cohen down at the edge of the D, but there's no foul. And Adelaide looking to launch the counter, and Piraeus is quick, but I tell you what, Aziz Bajic, despite his advancing years, is no slouch.
Great speed and excellent anticipation. That's what experience does for you.
And open up here for Schreiber. Bajic helps it on towards Tilio. 4 in the box for City. Tilio wants to go alone and fires wide.
Well, they're getting some shots on goal, which is an improvement for Melbourne City. Based on their first half offering, a couple of exciting moments in the early parts of the game, but it was pretty pedestrian stuff thereafter. Second half, whilst hardly setting the world on fire, they're at least forcing some pressure on the Adelaide goal.
Chance for Kai Truin, very reminiscent of the goal he scored last week, or one of them anyway, against Western Sydney Wanderers from close range. Stefan Mork's been caught here by Alessandro Lopane. We're witnessing the final half an hour or so of Carl Viet's coaching career with the Reds. XG favouring the home side. Adelaide yet to put any real pressure on Patrick Beach. One shot blocked by the boot of Zach Clough. For a team that scores and concedes so freely, Adelaide have been strangely quiet in an attacking sense so far. And fans who are here in decent numbers trying to lift their side. They know just how crucial 3 points would be here this evening. Kitto successfully challenged by Nathaniel Atkinson. Pereira successfully sidestepping Luka Jovanovic. Atkinson. That's the return off Zane Schreiber. There's room on the left for Tilio. Kuhn's going to have a go here. A bit more meaningful work for Max Vartuli.
Yeah, covered it nicely as well. Nice angled shot from Kuhn. Vartuli down to his left and smothered the ball nicely. Locked the ball up, might have bounced away into a dangerous situation.
This is going to be another yellow card. Off the guilty party. Pretty blatant it was too. Still the celebrations go on with the A-League women's team. And don't forget, the finals start in that competition tomorrow, 1:50 p.m. Mariners against Canberra. And a change made here by Melbourne City. Edin Mehmeti replacing Max Caputo. Hard tonight. Max Caputo had that one rather awkward chance in the early minutes of the game. Otherwise has been relatively well shackled by Kikianis and Prince. Cohen to angle it for Jonathan Cohen. Training ground routine didn't quite work out.
Yeah, they've certainly put on a couple this year which have been pretty easy on the eye and more importantly for Melbourne City pretty effective, but that one doesn't fall into that category at all.
That's a good climb by Atkinson. Mehmeti's first touch is a good one. With a flick by Jonathan Cohen, and Mehmeti could yet steal in, and the flag's got up near side.
He's got a defending though from Adelaide just when they look like they're about to break. Toe intervenes. The red socked leg gets in the way. Just offside. But still Adelaide retreated in numbers and still desperation on the edge of the box by Zach Clough without the free kick. The danger would have been cleared anyway.
A reminder of the scenario, if it stays this way, ends all square, Sydney would need realistically just 1 point from their last two games. Two away matches though, to Western United and to Melbourne City. That's a foul by Kitto, and that's because the goal difference heavily favours Sydney. They are +12, Adelaide -2 at the moment.
Yeah, and whilst back-to-back losses for Sydney is not inconceivable, a goal difference of 14 in those two matches is as close to inconceivable.
That's not going to be overturned, is it? So 1 point realistically would be enough if it were to stay this way. That's how it looks at this precise moment. And of course, at the top, it would mean first piece of silverware for the league's new boys, Auckland FC. Beard has attempted pretty shortly, given the paucity of opportunities they've managed to create tonight, to throw on Yaya Dukuli and really give him his head to go and run at defenders. It's offside. Jovanovic coming back from beyond the last defender.
It really is remarkable for Adelaide, depending on how this game finishes, but so far they're just 2 goals behind the Wanderers, the league leaders in goals for, as Dukuli. Rarely, if ever, in the history of top-flight football in Australia has such a free-scoring team not figured in the finals? I mean, I can't think of one.
Well, to be fair, Adam Taggart won the Golden Boot with the team that finished last season. So here's a chance brewing. Andreas Kuhn, and that's a big save by Max Bartoli. In fairness, the Austrian didn't catch it cleanly. And Bartoli gratefully gathered the ball.
Well, it's excellent work from Nathaniel Atkinson. The ball just didn't run on for Kuhn as he perhaps anticipated, but still all the favouritism was with the Austrian, and Bartoli held his nerve beautifully. It's better from Melbourne City. Adelaide under more pressure. Still holding firm though.
There we go, just the one save so far for Patrick Beach at the other end. City starting to build. Created a few chances, maybe not clear-cut ones as yet. One by Kuhn certainly was. Mehmeti. That's a corner. Kikian is claiming he was being held. Adelaide must try with all their might to resist. Max Bartoli did just that some moments ago. Still the corner to come for City, which Jonathan Cohen takes. And it goes through everybody. Jonathan Cohen fan club. He'd seen himself on the big screen, gave him a bit of a jolt. He was halfway through a yawn.
Is that because his team generally isn't providing the excitement, or Cohen in particular?
Adelaide might hear. It's Luka Jovanovic bearing down on goal. Has Kitto in support. Still there for Luka Jovanovic, potentially. It's a real scrap for the ball. City have got numbers back defensively now. Dylan Parias on the ball. Wants to check back out. Isaias was clipped, or was he? Well, the Spaniard stayed down. Sean Evans says no foul. And City look to spring upfield. Isaias went down, poleaxed here.
Good call by the assistant. You'd have to assume he communicated with Sean Evans that there was nothing in that. A lot of noise.
Miscue from Parias. Tilio.
Parias hasn't been his sharpest tonight. I just wonder if make way for Dukuli.
Looks like it's going to be a double change. Next break in play for the Reds. Both Dukuli and Johnny Yole are being readied by assistant coach Travis Dodd. And he knows a thing or two about wingers. And I think realistically, when you look at those numbers, the fact that Adelaide have struggled to create chances, they've got to really try and go for it this last quarter of the game. Luka Jovanovic is going to do just that, stealing the ball away from Ferreira. Argentine gets a toe on the ball and puts it behind for a corner.
Decent outcome for Adelaide. He's frustrated Jovanovic because he made that situation so positive for his team.
Here's those changes for the Reds. Yaya Dukuli to replace Ryan Kitto.
No more Schreibers down in the City penalty area.
So there'll be just a slight delay before this corner kick is taken. Yaya Dakuli is on. The fourth official's got the wrong number. So Johnny Yoll's introduction just going to have to wait a moment. Ryan Kitto wanders off. And Johnny Yoll is now with us at the expense of Zach Clough. And as you rightly say, Andy has really been at his best tonight. It's just waiting for Zane Schreiber to jog past the corner arc before he can re-enter the fray. Here's Johnny Yoll's corner, punched away by Patrick Beach. Back in by Isaias, helped on by Dakuli. Dakuli had a swing at it and completely missed. Tilio didn't. Parias mindful of the presence of Kuhn. Wasn't about to risk the back pass, but Tilio's onto it quickly. Here's Kuhn and Jonathan Cohen. Oh, it's a great save by Max Vartuli to keep the score sheet blank.
It is an excellent save, and I'm going to venture to suggest that Dylan Parias is a very relieved man, as Tilio carried the ball with purpose. Again, wonderful invention from Kuhn to set up the chance, and Cohen, that would have woken up his mate in the stands. Certainly gave a charge to Aurelio Vidmar, and it's excellent work by the keeper, Max Vartuli. Superb save.
Into the final 20 minutes at Amy Park. Jonathan Cohen's latest corner whipped in towards the near post. Here's Tilio trying to fire it through traffic. Truin steers it back wide for Cohen. Atkinson wants it down the line, and Dakuli slides in, and it's another corner for City.
It's a burst of pressure for Melbourne City. Really doing well. Nathaniel Atkinson has been very strong again for Melbourne City. Unsung hero of their campaign so far, I think. Carried a huge load when so many players were out injured.
Cohen, a bit more air this time, and Vartuli helps it on its way. The whistle's blown, I assume, for an infringement by Sean Evans. Pressure relieved on the Reds. That's the usual push and shove. See anything too untoward, but the referee clearly did.
That's escaped me.
Steered in behind, and the goalkeeper's cut. Oh, Dia's fallen heavily. Max Vartuli, play goes on. Tilio to square it up. Referee's not going to blow the whistle. Now he does a fraction of a second before the ball hit the back of the net via Jonathan Cohen. Wow. Well, initially he played on Sean Evans, but just as that ball was en route to the back of the nets, you heard the whistle blow.
Yeah, for offside, and we'll see where the offside is.
I think it's there.
And this is one of those cases where the play on invites the risky situation. Now, keeper needs to catch that, firstly, but the youngster makes the brave call to clear the field. But play was offside. The convention is to let the play go on until it finishes a natural course, but you do run the risk of injury. And let's hope this is not a serious one for Vartuli, who's had to really come into his own the last few moments. There's nothing malicious in the contact from the Melbourne City player. It happens. The youngster probably should have judged that better and caught it, but he didn't. He was very brave in trying to clear the danger. The City player was clearly offside.
I think he's also mindful, the goalkeeper, of the fact that he's close to the edge of his penalty area.
Indeed.
And in such a high-pressure game, you don't want to make that split decision that is an error and costs you.
No, I agree. I agree with that. I can only commend his commitment.
Reminder, the other elimination final on tomorrow in the A-League Women's. Adelaide United involved in finals action in that competition. They're at home to Western United at Cooper Stadium. A yellow card has been issued to Travis Dodd for his protests and for the referee perhaps not blowing the whistle. But you're absolutely right, Andy, that Sean Evans did the right thing. Emma Durakovic to replace Zane Schreiber for the final quarter of an hour or so. City have created a whole host of opportunities in the second half. Not much from the Reds at the other end. Are we heading, Andy, for that rarest of occasions this season when Adelaide United both keep a clean sheet and simultaneously fail to score?
Well, it's been a bizarre enough season as it is for Adelaide. Why not add that to the story?
To which Carl Veart would no doubt probably say in the press conference, typical. City is still pushing. Nice touch by Lopane. Atkinson. Lopane. City full of running and full of invention. Adelaide, for the moment, you just get the sense of rather hanging on. Tilio. No way forward for Bajic. It's an intelligent ball by Truin. Cohen. And Bart Vriens shuts that one down.
Well, there was a moment that needed covering by Bart Vriens, but Johnny Yall had lost his run. And this is the type of defensive situation that's got Adelaide into trouble. Look at the number 12, Johnny Yall, had lost Cohen. Now, Cohen is a really clever player. You've got to keep every eye that you've got available on him. And that lacked discipline as well, thankfully for Johnny Yall's sake. Bart Vriens was there to clean up.
Marco Tilio to deliver towards the near post. Came off Mametti last. Goal kick. Cohen straining every sinew to try and keep this City attack going. Lopane. Cohen. Breaks here for Johnny Yall. He has a little look up to see what was on ahead of him, and the answer was not much. Kikiadis, hoping that Ivanovic can chase that one down. Off the chest of Cohen. Lopane. Atkinson finding Cohen. City on the move again. Here's Nathaniel Atkinson, whose shot just brushes the side netting.
Well, he's got to be close to the best player on the ground tonight, Nathaniel Atkinson. That would have capped it off. He's done some really clever things. He's worked very, very hard. I don't know necessarily that he's made an error this evening. Just couldn't quite get that shot on target. Just to reiterate, that period in the middle of the season when players were dropping like flies, Nathaniel Atkinson, one of the few senior players still upright, and had to move from his normal right fullback position into the centre of midfield. Utterly foreign, did a fantastic job Melbourne City rolled on, kept accumulating points, and if it wasn't for the effort of Nathaniel Atkinson through that period of the season, their pitcher wouldn't look nearly so rosy. He's had a terrific time of it and very, very strong tonight.
To be fair, Hobbs, I think you're underselling him. I think he played 3 or 4 different positions at various points of the season.
Yeah.
He's filled in at left back, right back, which is his natural position, but centre of midfield, left-hand side of midfield. The boy from Launceston just keeps on running. No doubt he too has got one eye on those June World Cup qualifiers. Not been involved with the Socceroos for a little while now. Here's Bajic. Tilio was flattened on the edge of the box. Sean Evans just delaying the whistle for a moment to see if an advantage would accrue. He was coat angered by Isaias, wasn't he?
Well, the first question was, does Isaias move his position to get in the way of Tilio? I don't think that's the case. It's the forearm which is the condemning factor. I'm going to offer this, that Isaias was just bracing for the contact himself, not looking to decapitate anyone, but nevertheless I think the free kick was right. Now the back chat rings the yellow card.
One final yellow card in perhaps his final game. It's his first of the season. A farewell card from Sean Evans. And he'd do well not to argue anymore, or the hue of the card may change. Final 10 minutes in a game that has threatened a goal but so far failed to produce one. Max Bartuli has been one of the reasons for that. A couple of very good saves. Might be called upon again here. Is it going to be Tilio or Cohen? It is Marco Tilio, and it's straight down the throat of the goalkeeper.
He's had to do some good work tonight, Bartuli. That was a routine involvement. A chance for Melbourne City. They'll be better in this second half without being scintillating, and in the closing stages of this season they have been scintillating at times. Adelaide barely ruffled a feather on Patrick Beach, which is most off script for them. But they're still in this one, and by extension they're still in the race for the finals, as bizarre as that may seem.
This is the danger points of A-League games for Carl Beard and his team this season. Last 15 minutes of matches, they've conceded 13 times, more than any other team in the competition. Recent seasons, of course, they were more renowned for scoring late goals. Would a point be enough if indeed that's what they end up leaving Amy Park with? Vriends taking control of that situation. Off the head of Durakovic, but straight at Isaias. Now Stephen Morgan, a rare chance for the Reds to look forward. Dukuli has barely had a chance to try and get at Nathaniel Atkinson since coming off the bench. Kikianis. Alagic. A turn to get rid of Cohen. Nathaniel Atkinson, heavy favourite for this one. And dragged back by Yaya Dukuli.
This is disappointing for Adelaide. They couldn't release the ball down the right. Dylan Perez was free a couple of times. Melbourne City's press was so well organised that they made Kikianis in particular just doubt his ability to hit that pass. They turned to the left. Ethan Alagich with an easy outball to Stefan Mork, who could have committed a player and then played Dukali, and they were away down the left. But Ethan Alagich, if I could say, took on too much responsibility there. Needed to keep it more simple. Adelaide would have been away. Good spell of possession for them.
Lopez, the back pass that almost slipped away from Kikianis. Isaias was then under pressure. Adelaide readying a double change. Ben Falami and Jay Barnett are going to be with us next break in play. Lawrence Wong and Kavian Romani the same for Melbourne City. Oh, loose one from Kikianis. Tilio. Here's Andreas Kuhn. And the back heel catching Tilio unawares. Tension growing at Amy Park. Here's those changes. Stefan Mork to be withdrawn. Jay Barnett introduced, and Ethan Alagich makes way for the introduction of Ben Falami. Those are the two Adelaide United changes. Here come the City changes. Andreas Kuhn will be replaced by Lawrence Wong, and Jonathan Cohen makes way for the introduction of Kavian Rahmani. All change on the sidelines. We've got just under 5 minutes of the 90 to play.
Well, unsurprisingly, given his career, Isaias for Adelaide has been outstanding today. He's just provides such calmness, particularly in these last 5 or 10 minutes. Adelaide have had a lot of the ball. They've diligently tried to play their way through Melbourne City, and they've run a close thing at times, but there he is again, just reading the play and settling things down and securing possession. From this position, Adelaide just need to pull a trigger a bit quicker. They're going to play themselves into trouble, is my prediction, unless at some point they try and turn Melbourne City around. But in a lot of ways, Adelaide have really got the bit between their teeth here. Whether they can hang on or not, the season's history suggests they've got no chance, because they will concede at some point.
And it's a point enough, Andy, to put the wind up Sydney FC. Here's Lawrence Wong as City try to convert that into all three. Auckland, a matter of minutes away from being crowned premiers in their debut season, no less. I know they have regular watch parties for Auckland games over there in New Zealand. I wonder if they're doing the same for tonight's match. Paramount Plus Player Index, Max Bartuli's excellent second half display has him top of the pile at the moment. Marco Tilio in second, and Isaias is there in third. Truitt. City have made most of the running second half. Tilio. Wong. Pereira. Atkinson for Rahmani. Atkinson in position for the return. It's a really tireless display by Nathaniel Atkinson. Rahmani again. Thrown across the bay. It's not too cleanly, it must be said. Tilio, can he find the spark for City late on? Durakovic. Lawrence Wong, little drop of the shoulder and squares it up. Kikianis clears, and in the same movement was a bit for offside, which is a call that is heeded.
No, it was a good clearance by Kikianis. Wong busy since he's come on, just drifting there on the Harvey Norman replay into that offside position. It's good work from Kikianis. Kikianis there at the near post. Very mindful of the positioning of Lawrence Wong.
Oh, now the back pass is short and Dylan Parias is in. Patrick Beach made himself big and made a crucial block. Virtually his first real piece of work tonight. And just like that, Adelaide could have stolen it.
And should have. Great work, Patrick Beach. But
I think it just hit him in the face,
yeah,
didn't it?
But, you know, he gets there, he's alert to it. He just doesn't lift it enough, Parias. Very makeable chance to throw the cat amongst the pigeons. Or at Amy Park, the hawk amongst the seagulls. Amazing chance, really. A moment in time for Adelaide fans to go from the extremely unlikely, a goal there, to the might it be possible realm. Really puts the heat on Sydney.
Now they've got defending to do because Tilio is racing away, but Dylan Parias, who's had a bit of a mixed evening, manages to dispossess the winger and then loses out in the foot race. Lapane. Shot deflected. I thought for a moment that was going to loop in over the top of Max Bartuli. It's behind for a corner as we tick over into injury time.
Oh, I thought Bartuli thought the same thing. Most people did. After the chance to nail it at the other end, is cruel fate going to fall on Adelaide after the deflection.
Four minutes to be added. We're in the first of those now. Tilio with City's latest corner. Worked short via Rahmani. Tilio will get another go off Johnny Yull. Adelaide close to returning to the top six. Auckland very close to being crowned premiers. Tilio's corner dealt with by the Reds at the near post. And Durakovic gives the ball away. And the Reds could be able to spring clear. It's a poor ball from Johnny Yull. Now Parias still had a lot to do in fairness, but again the break was on.
Yeah, no, it was actually Luki Ivanovic who was just really tired in the execution. And that would have been another moment, but now they have to see Melbourne City away, who are not giving up on the win as time ticks. And all the chances this half have been for Melbourne City, bar one, the best of the game for Dylan Parias. He had survival in his hands, Dylan Parias. And he couldn't take the chance.
Lawrence Wong trying to get beyond Barthrines, quite able to do that. Adelaide are 2 minutes away, a little bit less than that now in fact, from a point that will get them back in the finals places at least for 24 hours. Close to a first clean sheet since December. City have had a plethora of opportunities. Maybe still one more to come. Tilio's determination gets the better of Parias. Here's Lawrence Wong. Gets rid of one defender. Still going. Eventually, Adelaide had the numbers.
Well, it was nice work by Lawrence Wong. He berates himself. He asks some serious questions.
Tilio's cross. Into the last 30 seconds at Amy Park. Atkinson, who's tried as hard as anybody in City Blue to break the deadlock. Here's Johnny Yull. Needed to release the ball quicker. Carl Wirtz is furious in the technical zone. Here's Lopade. Lawrence Wong. Tilio. Might be all on this for City. Here's Lawrence Wong. Chance to win it right at the end. But he missed it so badly, it's actually got out for a throw-in.
Well, it was set up beautifully. Tilio, Wong to Tilio, and Tilio just delayed. Invited Lawrence Wong to take the opportunity to run into the box. Accepted that invitation, was fed beautifully, and he shot with the angle. Well, it certainly emptied the Melbourne City bench, but went for the throw-in.
On we go to the 5th minute of stoppage time. Up in the air by Jay Barnett. Sean Evans has the whistle in his mouth and says that will do. And this result here tonight means that Auckland are the premiers in their debut season. What an achievement for Steve Corica and his team. It'll be some party in New Zealand later on this weekend. As for these two, City still on track for a top 2 finish. Adelaide get a point that moves them into the top 6. But is it enough for them to stay there? With Sydney FC having 2 games to get the points they need. It looks unlikely, but you never know. It could be the end of the road for Carl Wirtz, who manages a smile and a hug with his big friend, Aurelio Vidmar. Dylan Parias had a big chance to win it for the Reds late on. Lawrence Wong, likewise for Melbourne City, who created most of the chances, particularly in the second half. Max Fartuli made 1 or 2 excellent stops, but in the end, they could not be separated. So that rarest of things for the Reds this season. A clean sheet and no goals at the other end. It ends all square at Amy Park. Melbourne City 0, Adelaide United 0.